Today what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a haunted house. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to place my picture inside my artboard. I'm going to go ahead and lock this layer, and then I'm going to create a brand new layer to start my drawing. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I don't have any color in my fill, and then I'm just going to have color in my stroke. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pen tool, and I'm going to start by tracing the outline of the house here. So as you're tracing with the pen tool, if you've got curves and you click and you hold, you can curve your lines as necessary to accommodate the shape that you're going around. And I'm just going to focus on the outline of the house and just ignore the trees and everything else around there. And just focus on the house. Okay, so now that I have the outline of the house traced around, I'm going to go around these couple of areas where I've got openings where I can see what's behind the house. So this part here on the porch and this part over here on this upper deck. So I'm going to go ahead and take my pen tool and I'm going to trace around those areas. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and trace around the shapes of my windows on the house. Windows and doors. The thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go around a few of these areas that protrude out on the image. So sections of the roof, a few of these sections on the front side of the house, just to give the house a little more shape and definition that way. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is go ahead and hide that house for a second, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn all the windows yellow. So select all the windows and doors that I traced around and turn those yellow. And then I'm going to turn all these different pieces of the house to maybe a shade of gray. And I'm going to make these two open pieces white, and I'll make the rest of the house black. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the two white pieces and the house, and then I'm going to use my pathfinder to divide it. After I divide it, I'm going to ungroup it, and then I'm going to delete those two pieces so I have some openings there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new layer, and on this new layer I'm going to create my background. So I'll start by grabbing my rectangle tool, and I'm going to throw a rectangle, and I'm going to maybe use my gradient tool on this. So I'm going to change the colors of my gradient. Alright, so create a new layer for the background. Use some blue and purple. Yeah, I'll make that a radial gradient. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my ellipse tool and I'm going to create a moon. So I'll draw a circle there. And I'm going to make this white and a very pale blue. And let's swap that around. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this other gradient tool here on the left side, and I'm going to click and drag to change where the highlighted area comes from. And I'll do the same thing here on the background. Grab this other gradient tool and pull this across, so then it gives kind of a glow around the moon a little bit. Let's move that stroke. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go under Effect. I'm going to go to Stylize and Outer Glow. I'm going to create a little bit of an outer glow. I'll change the color of that to white. We'll click OK. And I'll click OK. Okay, so now I'm going to draw another rectangle that will become the ground here, and we'll just make that kind of a generic gray. Okay, now I'm going to open up my layer, so I'm going to drag layer 2 behind layer 1. That other layer, go ahead and trash that, I don't need it anymore. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just select the house, I'll make a copy of it, and I'm going to right click, transform and reflect. I'm going to reflect that horizontally. I'll create a little cast shadow underneath the house. I'm going to actually change that to gray, and I'm going to arrange this. So we go object arrange, and I'm going to send that to the back of that layer. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to add a transparency. So I'll switch that from normal to multiply so that we can see the shadow through there. I'll squinch that up a little bit. Now the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a tree. So it's going to be an empty tree, a barren tree, fall time tree. So I'm going to take my paintbrush, and with my paintbrush I'm going to draw a few strokes here. Okay, so when you draw with this, start from the bottom and sweep up with that to make these things that are going to become the branches of the tree. Okay, so let me go ahead and lock this background layer real quick. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and select that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch this to up here with my brush definition. I'm going to switch that to basic. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch that to this triangular shaped with profile 4. Then I'll increase the size of those with the stroke here. Okay, so now I'll start to give this more of a tree shape here. And now I'm going to add some little branches with this paintbrush coming off of those. Okay, so let's go ahead and select those and go basic up here with the brush definition, and then we'll use that same with profile 4, and I can increase the stroke size a little bit. I'll go ahead and select all those. I'm going to go under Object, expand the appearance, and then what I might do is take my eraser here along the bottom, just kind of round out the bottom a little bit. There we go. So now I can take this tree, right click and group it together, and if I wanted to I can make a copy of that. Maybe I'll stick one here on the other side. And then maybe what I'll go ahead and do is maybe I'll copy this again by hitting Control C, Control V, and then I'm going to go ahead and reflect it. So right click, transform, reflect, and I'll reflect that horizontally. Click OK. I'll stick that underneath the tree, and I'm going to turn this to gray. And then I'm going to put same transparency on it as I did with the house. So let's go multiply. Alright, so I'll select those two things and I'm going to arrange them, send them to the back. And there we have it.